Today, we're diving into one single number that pretty much fuels the entire global economy.
So have you ever wondered why some crude oil is way more valuable than others? It's not all the same stuff.
Well, a lot of the time, the answer actually boils down to just one simple measurement.
And that number is called API gravity, which was developed by the American Petroleum Institute.
So what is it? Well, in simple terms, it's just a measure of how heavy or light oil is, compared to water.
But here's the thing that might seem a little backward. It's an inverse scale. Higher API means lighter oil.
Yeah, the easiest way to get your head around it is this. Does it float or sink in water?
See, pure water has an API gravity of 10. That's the magic number, the benchmark for everything. So if a crude oil's API is anything greater than 10, it's lighter than water and it's going to float.
And you guessed it, if the API is less than 10, it's heavier than water, so it sinks.
So how do they actually measure this? Well, they use a surprisingly simple tool called a hydrometer.
The whole process is pretty straightforward. You just gently place it in the oil and read the scale. Okay, so what's the point of all this? Well, this simple number is actually used to grade the crude.
So you've got light, medium, and heavy crudes. The most valuable stuff? That's light crude, right between 35 and 45. And this grading system has a huge impact on the price. So let's get into why lighter is pricier.
It's because lighter crude has more of the stuff that's easily turned into gasoline and diesel.
That means it's just way more efficient to process, making it a lot more profitable for refineries. But this is where the story gets really interesting, especially when you look at the US. It turns out nearly 70% of US refineries are actually designed to process heavier crude.
That seems completely backward, right? Why build for the less valuable, harder to process stuff?
Well, it all comes down to history. See, before the US shale boom, light crude was actually getting pretty scarce.
So the US invested a ton of money in complex refineries to handle the heavier oils that were available then.
So let's quickly recap. API gravity is a simple number with huge consequences for oil's quality, price, and processing.
Which leaves us with a final thought. As refining technology changes, will API gravity still be this powerful?